Hi everyone, we're here to do a special program for my dog and me, although we're not going to be talking about dogs right now. We're going to talk about Hog Heaven and the potbelly pigs and introduce to you Regina Martin, who I've known for probably 10 or 15 years, and we're going to start at the beginning, talk about everything you have done, and then we'll go on and give a tour, and then we're going to end up showing everybody the potbelly pigs, which is why I actually came down here.
Okay.
So tell us about you.
Okay, I'm Regina Martin Allman, and we've lived here 23 years. Hog Heaven is 22 years old since we became nonprofit. And the reason I did that, I'm a huge animal lover, and there are many shelters and rescues for dogs and cats, and not many for large animals. So we initially became a large animal rescue. I'm also a Humane Society police officer. Retired Pittsburgh police officer, and I worked for the Pennsylvania SPCA, and I covered 38 counties over here in northwest Pennsylvania.
How many acres do you have here?
We have 108.
108, yes. That's a lot.
Yes.
It's an awful
and
lot.
At one time we had 8 pastures with run-in sheds, and we took in equine and the mixture of animals. When my husband was diagnosed with Parkinson's, at that time he was pretty bad with balance and stuttering, so I rehomed all the animals, pulled all the pastures, and all I do now are the potbelly pigs. Because he's so unsteady, I don't let him deal with the animals at all.
Correct.
So, yes.
Correct. So whenever you started, you had all types of large animals.
Correct. We took in neglect and abuse cases from Humane Society police officers, also law enforcement. And sometimes owner surrenders depending upon what their situation was.
What was that organization that I belonged to, that you belonged to, where we were doing?
State Animal Response Team, and we
That's
called
where
it
right.
the County Animal Response Team.
Right, and that's where I first met you.
Yes, because David and I were the large animal technicians.
Right, and that's where I was dealing with, I must have had the Bark Park at the time.
Yes.
And I came down and saw everything that you had and was blown away, because whenever I came down, you still had the large animals and the horses were running in the pastures and all that kind of stuff.
Right, and we held classes here for the cart team. And we had the A-frames for fetching. If a rider and a horse goes into a ravine, we had the A-frames to be able to get the horses out and yes.
And also, if there was an accident or something on 79 that involved large animals, you could also help there.
Correct. Yes, I did go out. I-90 had a cattle truck overturned, and I went out with my 26-foot stock trailer, and we went out and we helped gather up the animals and get them safely off the road so that they wouldn't be a hazard to vehicles.
Okay, and where we recently got together, and hopefully some of the people that are watching this program also watched my favorite that I've done, one of my favorites this summer, which was the spade and neuter of the cats and dogs, and it was called Fix and Wagon.
Yes.
Fix and Wagon. If you have not seen it, you have got to watch it. You've got to see what they do as far as mass spade and neuterings, almost always cats.
Cats right now, because Dr. Theo actually is having her C-section tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So once she's back on track, then we do dogs 30 pounds and under also.
So they need to watch that,
yes.
Because let's give a plug for that. That's done in Curtown, behind the boot box at the Curtown Community Center.
Correct. That's where we hold our clinics. Yes.
Okay, so they need to watch that too, and that's where we came in contact with each other. And I said, well, we've just done this, and that was an unbelievable experience. I loved that. Told everybody about it. And then I said, well, let's get on and do the potbelly pigs. So that's what we want to talk about today. So we're going to turn ourselves around. Let's walk over this way. And let's start talking about potbelly pigs.
Okay. In 1980, someone paid $85,000 to bring a pair of Vietnamese potbelly pigs to the United States to make them pets.
I didn't realize the first word on that was Vietnamese, because I just recently saw that whenever I looked at it, and it said Vietnamese, and I thought, oh, I never even knew that. I just called them potbelly pigs. So they're all Vietnamese potbelly pigs?
They originated from Vietnamese potbelly pigs, and in Vietnam they are their meat staple. So they don't have cattle or feeder pigs, so they actually eat the potbelly pigs at about 35 or 40 pounds. But we've interbred and made them much larger and pretty much ruined them as far as that goes. And we've introduced new colors, and now they do Cooney, and they do Juliano pigs, and they just do many, many different kinds. So, yes. So.
Okay, let's start. What colors do they come in? You've got 100 different ones here.
Colors. So this is Penny, the one that's walking up. She's all white. When I got her, she was from up northeast. She was so obese she couldn't walk on her feet. She was on her knees. And her shoulders, she looked like a big football player. So we did Weight Watcher daily walks. And now she's doing very, very well. This is Pork Chop.
Do you name them all?
They come with names.
They come with names?
Yes, except, well, this is Minnie. Minnie came from the state police. They found her in a crack home. And she was just a little piglet, and we took her and got her spayed. Everybody here is spayed and neutered. It helps them be better pets, and it gives them a better life, and they don't get aggressive.
Okay, let's talk about the ears.
Okay. What about them?
Well, they're big, they're up.
Yes.
Do they get stuff in them? Do you have to clean them?
I do clean them, and when you first introduce them, and they fight, pigs fight horribly when you first introduced.
To other pigs, do they?
Well,
do they bite them?
Every one of these pigs lived in a house. Every one of these pigs were a house pet at one time. So Henry's that one there. He actually was
He's a lot more fur.
therapy pig, and he lived in a low-cost housing facility in a crate. And the facility actually got her an 8x4 kennel outside. The manager called me because he didn't get a lot of outside time. So I corresponded with the owner, and she did finally give him up. When I first brought him here, I believe he was actually addicted to nicotine because she smoked so much. And he went through quite the withdrawal. So now he's a love bug, but he was pretty mean at first. And Oscar's from Maryland, and then we have Wilbur, the little white one to your left.
That's this one down here.
I took Papa Pig in and 5 of his piglets from a shelter in Maryland. And he's the only one, well, no, he and I have Dipsy, she's in the back. They're the only 2 that had not been adopted. He was actually adopted and brought back because he didn't get along with the dog. But dogs and pigs should never be left alone. Dogs are predators, pigs are prey. And even though they're raised together and they get along very well together, the point comes when if the pig runs and squeals, the dog chases on.
Yeah.
Right. And there's many horror stories about, I came home and put the key in the door and somebody met me and ears were gone and tails were gone and blood was everywhere. And so
how long do they live?
Documented up to 18 to 20 years. They used to say
18
12
to 20
to
years.
15, but it depends on the life. So
why do people get them?
Well, they're, quote, hypoallergenic. They don't have dander. They are very smart. They are very clean. You can teach them to use a litter box in the house or go to a bell and ring the bell just like a dog, or use a doggy door. They can walk on leashes and harnesses. You can teach them to sit and twirl and pick up those little children's basketball things. They can play basketball. It just, like children and dogs, you get out of them what you put into them. So unfortunately, there are still people out there breeding them, and more unfortunately, people don't do their research, and they are still for sale for up to $3,500.
Okay, so $3,500.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And they're not fixed. They're usually not spayed or neutered. And then if it's a male and he's not neutered, he's going to want to travel. He'll break through his pen and travel. And if it's a female, when they cycle, they pick one person to be their mate, and they can get very aggressive if anybody goes near that one person. So if you do get a potbelly pig, it's best to do your research. Make sure you have a vet around that can spay and neuter. And they're very stoked. They don't let you know that they're sick. But when they do finally start to show that they're sick, you need to have a veterinarian that will take care of them and treat them. And that's getting harder and harder to find.
Well, let's talk about
the tusk.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, they do
Not
have
all of them,
tusks.
though. That one over there really has
Yes,
large tusks.
she's actually going to have hers, well, he's actually going to have his, when I have the hoof trimmer come in, then we also cut their tusks. I don't cut them unless they start to grow into their face.
This one
Now,
down here
yes,
almost is.
That's Biscuit, yes. So Biscuit's is almost grown. And
Do they all have tusks?
to one various degree or another. I think when Penny was spayed, they took her and removed her tusks. So if they remove the root, I don't believe they grow back. So, and then they do need foot care. You know, people don't realize that. I to the point I can't flip them and trim them any longer, so I have to bring someone in.
Is that what you would do? Flip them over?
What you do is you reach underneath, grab their opposite legs, flip them on their back, and then they're fine once they're on their back. Then you straddle them and you take your hoof nippers and your files or your Dremel, and that's how you trim their toes.
Could you suspend them from a swing or something and do it?
You probably could.
I saw that done on television the other day. I think it was with llamas or whatever it was.
okay.
They had done that crazy thing. Now, what about the nose in that? Do you have to clean those creases? Those creases look, oh, they all have creases on their nose.
Right. Well, and the pigs cannot sweat, so that's a misnomer. So you see I have swimming pools in the back. I also make mud holes. So I don't do any of that until the fall or winter because they're always using their nose to dig up their dirt piles and different things.
What do they eat?
I
Corn?
feed them, well, no, because you don't, corn is more of a feeder. Well, I'm sorry, yes. You see corn on the cob here. We go
Right.
to the auction and we buy corn on the cob and we buy watermelon and cantaloupe and different things like that. I do give them a sweet feed. They get they get 1 cup of that every day.
That's you buy that and then they
Correct.
put it. Okay.
They each have their own stall or their own bowl.
Oh, in there.
For these guys, yes.
Are these males or females in here?
I have Penny's a female, Minnie's a female.
And they don't fight.
No, and the rest of them are males. They only fight when you first introduce them because they don't know, if they've lived in a house with people, they really don't know that they're pigs. So they can get pretty vicious.
So they eat grass.
Yes, they do learn to graze, yes.
And then they also eat anything that you bring in, like you said, cantaloupes, watermelon,
Correct.
corn, or anything like that.
October, people bring me their pumpkins. They love pumpkins.
Oh, yeah, I know somebody who had one of these,
Yes.
and she always collected the pumpkins.
In fact, I get surprise pumpkins and squash patches from the manure pile in the back because they don't digest the seeds, so it replants
okay.
itself, and then I get surprise vegetables.
So you get them back there. Oh, that's kind of interesting. And then they like mud.
Yes.
That's what we always see on television is pigs in the mud.
Well, that's because they can't sweat. So it cools them down, and it also coats them for the bugs.
I don't see any bugs by them. I don't see.
No.
We see horses with that.
The horse flies.
Yeah, you see that
The
mask.
Yes.
But these guys don't have any bugs by them.
No. Pigs are very clean. It's how you keep them. Even the feeder pigs. It's how you keep them on if they're clean or
What's
not.
a feeder pig?
Feeder pig is the pigs that we use for food. The big, like what
Oh,
you'll
the big
see-
pigs.
right.
Okay.
I call them feeder pigs, yeah.
Oh, okay. Now that one seems to have something running by its eye
Which one?
over there.
Oh, you mean Wilbur?
Yeah,
Yes.
Wilbur. Do they drain the eyes? Drain a
They
little
can,
bit sometimes.
and they
Oh,
can
okay.
cry. When they first come here and they lose their homes, they lay in a corner and they cry real tears.
Now, wait a
It's very, very sad.
Now,
Yes.
wait a minute.
They
you
do
made
cry.
that up.
No, I did not make that
Okay,
up.
so
They
the
do
pig
cry.
comes to you. It's been
in
given
a
up.
house for its whole life.
Okay, now it comes here and you put it in here with these
No,
guys?
I put it in a stall by itself until it gets comfortable with me.
And how long will that take?
Depends on the pig. So sometimes they come around pretty quickly. Sometimes, like I have Stella, she hated me. She tried to eat me every time I went in her stall. So she took a long time. And then when they finally lay down for a belly rub, that's how they submit. They lay down for a belly rub, and then I'll put a gate up across the front of their stall so that they can see these guys and smell them and touch noses, but they can't really get near them. Then once they get settled with that, then I turn them out into here, and when I'm going to be here, because like I said, they do fight. And then I have, David made it for me, it's called the Pig Catcher 2000. And we put it over them and we walk them to the big field, and I'll turn them out there. And the benefit out there is it's so large that, like Papa Joe, he's the boss out there, so he'll be the first one to go after someone. But the pastures are so large that the new one can run away and get away from the fight.
Well, I'm originally, as you know, a city person. Tell me, we have to digress here. Tell me that about that rooster. What are the colors on this rooster?
Yes, yes.
Oh my Lord. Beautiful. Is that a special type of rooster?
No. We had a hen, 2 hens actually, that left the chicken house and decided they wanted to live in this front barn. So, and she hatched out a couple chicks last year. So,
do they come out of the same color? She's gorgeous. He's gorgeous.
He's very young. Yes, you can tell by his spurs. The longer the spurs, the
older.
What
are spurs?
See the long on, see above his feet, about ankle length.
Oh yeah.
That's called a spur. When people fight them, that's where they put the metal spurs. They put it on their leg and then tie it around them. And then, because when roosters fight, they jump forward and they use their spurs. So that's how they teach them.
I could be here for days learning about this. Okay, if I walked in here, would anybody bite me?
No, not at all.
Would they come over for me to touch them? I'm not going to do it. I'm just curious.
No, absolutely. In fact, when we go in, Pork Chop will lay for a belly rub, Penny will lay for a belly rub. If we go out here, I had someone from Penland. She came in 2 weeks ago, and while we were out there, there were quite a few. They come over and they lay down for belly rubs. So, yes.
How come some of them have fur and some of them don't?
They blow their coat in the summer. So last week, the week before, if you took a handful of fur, it would just come right out. The hair would come right out.
This one here hasn't blown it yet, or this is the newest coat?
No, he hasn't blown it yet.
And then in the winter, do they get as much fur as that one over there has?
Yes. Well, it depends on them. Some of them have very coarse hair. Some of them have very fine hair. Oscar quit it.
The cats don't bother them?
No.
Do they bother the cats?
No. No, we have 5 barn kitties. We have Wild Man, Tom, Cat, Mouse, and Box Kitty.
Yeah, I've got barn cats too. Yeah.
Everybody's fixed. Everybody's tested. Everybody's vaccinated.
And on their feet, do they have 2 sections to their feet, or 3 or 4? What is it? How many toes?
They have a split foot, and then they have their dew claws on both sides. Except Penny. Penny doesn't have a split foot. If you look at her foot here, it's called a mule foot. She doesn't have the split. She's got an actual 1 hoof. But everybody else is the cloven hoof. So you see, like, Oscar has the split hoof, and then he has a dew claw on each side.
Do you have to treat them for fleas?
No. I do treat them for lice. You can get lice from your straw. So it's a powder that you use also for chickens, and you just powder them down and put it in their bedding.
Do you have to treat them for, we said fleas, what about distemper or anything? Do they get any of those things?
No. No, I deworm twice a year, only because there's a group of them. So, and I put the dewormer in a piece of bread and give it to them.
You can hand feed them too?
Yes.
Wow. Now what makes this, how many are in here? 8, 7.
Yes.
7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
8.
8. And these 8 will always stay here?
Well, Henry was in the back, but he was getting picked on and losing weight, so I brought him up here. And Minnie, she gets some kind of a...
She's the one over here, the gray one.
She's right there with you. Yep, she's the one from the crack house.
Right here?
Yes. And she gets a growth every now and again, and the growth will come out. And I took her to the vet, and they think it's cancer. I'm not going to take her to OSU to have anything done, so I have her up here. That way, when she gets these open wounds, I can tend to them. See the one on her back leg? That used to be one, and now it's a big lump. Yes.
Oh, okay.
But they're usually very healthy and very easy keepers.
When they have babies, how many do they have?
The potbellies usually have, from what I understand, anywhere from 8 to 14.
Do you ever have, when you get them, do you spay and neuter them right away?
Right.
So you've never had a whole crew of... baby
Years and years
potbellies.
ago, I took in a female, and she had, I believe, 9 piglets. Yes, because I had Dr. Spencer out, and he.
Okay,
yes.
yeah. Do you have to take him to a vet, or does a vet come here and do all your stuff?
Nowadays it's very hard to have a
Get
large
vets.
animal vet. They just don't come anymore. So I think Greener Pastures
Yeah.
is the only one that will actually come to the farm anymore.
Did Donnie Conslow ever come out?
No.
Because he does all types of exotic
Yes.
things.
And a lot of vets in the city, they'll consider potbelly pigs exotic.
Oh, okay.
Pork Chop
And-
says pet me.
Who, this one?
Yes.
She gonna go after
They
me?
won't- No, they won't go after you.
I'm not sure about this.
No. See, and he's blowing his coat. See how it's coming out?
Huh.
But feel how wiry he is.
Like a wire-haired terrier.
Yeah. Pet him. He won't
I'm
hurt
going
you.
to.
Okay.
Oh my God. Oh, my little heavens. Oh my heavens. They tried to get me to pet a possum one day. I bagged that plan. They wanted me to touch his tail. I wouldn't even do that. Oh my heavens. And it's very, their flesh, there's no extra flesh there.
No, they're very bulky and compact. I had a chiropractor here for a horse once, and I asked him could he adjust one of my pigs because he was limping, and he said, Regina, that would be like adjusting a brick. So
Yeah, they're
because
very,
they are
very strong
compact,
and
yes.
hard.
And their nose is very strong.
And they originally came from Vietnam,
Yes,
and they ate them there.
about Wilbur size, yes.
Oh, that's the typical size.
Yes,
'Cause
that's
some-
about the size that, yes.
Where's that real big one?
You
Maybe
mean
it's,
Hammy?
is that over
Hammy's
there?
Big. Yep. Hammy's pretty big.
Is that big for a potbelly pig, that one back there?
I think he's a mixture of. And Bacon's not out here either, so we do have another one. He's still inside.
What about that one right there?
The black and white one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Hammy.
That's a male.
Yes.
But why can you see the teats on him so well?
That's how
just-
the pigs are.
Oh, okay.
But
Because I was
you'll
trying to
see-
figure it out.
Yeah, you see in the middle of him, see how there's a little piece of straw? That's where his little hair, like
Oh,
you said,
okay, I see
Jigs,
it.
you could tell how he had peed because he had urine on his.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that was neat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do they all feel the same?
No, they're all different.
Is this one going to? Is
None of
anybody
them
going to
will
bite
hurt-
me?
No, nobody will bite you. Nobody
Here
will
I am.
bite you.
You wouldn't think I would care.
Nobody
see
will
this one.
bite you.
Oh my God. Oh. Okay. Well, let's go off to the next
Let's
section.
go to this pen.
All right.
This is Papa Joe. This is Cookie. That's Floyd. Daisy Mae. Come on, Daisy. Stella's the black and white one. She's the one that was with a fraternity. She hated me for a long time. She hated me. Here, feel him.
Why does he feel different? Oh my God! I wish we could show people what these potbelly pigs feel like.
Hey, go.
Unbelievable.
Come on. Hey, come for a belly rub. There you go. There you go.
And that's what he wants you to do.
That's what he wants you to do. They can't reach up here, so they can't itch here. Hi, honey. Come on. Say
Do they
hello.
ever get jealous when you're doing?
No. Whoop. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh wow.
So just like people have different hair textures, so do the pigs. Come here, Cookie. Feel Cookie. Cookie's very, very soft.
Well, that one back there wasn't soft at all. Cookie, where
It's
are you
all right.
going?
Cookie,
Oh.
come here. Come here.
She knows I like dogs. Is
And here's Floyd.
that the one of the ones that Omi
Omi
had?
Yep.
Hi, how are you?
Pet him. Yep.
He'll let me pet him?
Yes.
He won't put his. How are
Nobody
you?
here will
Oh,
bite
okay.
you. Stop.
All right.
And this is their mud hole. They usually go in there. However,
One's going in maybe now.
um,
And this
so
is.
they have 2 pastures. They can roam. They can graze. I bed them in the sheds. We fill the sheds with straw for the winter. I don't use heat.
Can we go down and look at the sheds?
Sure.
Let's go look at the sheds. Well, while we're walking through this, why do you like these pigs?
Well, I like them but there's no place for them to go. So we've become sort of like their
salvation. You're it.
You're the refuge. So.
And now will they all live in this one big pen here?
They have this one, they have that one there.
Oh, okay.
And then this one I have to put a front on. I put a floor in, but I didn't put the front on yet. So, because we put the front on and we fill it with straw, and that's how they sleep in the winter.
It's not heated though?
No. No, because when they bed down in the straw, they provide their own heat. It gets very, very warm. And I'm still getting surrenders. I had 14 surrenders in the last 10 days.
No, wait,
So,
14 surrenders?
Yes. And people actually, I have a lady from Georgia that wants me to come get her pig.
Well,
so you're showing
Regina, what do you do when you, okay, you had a surrender of 14 pigs, right, in the last 10 days?
But I don't always take them. If they're not spayed neutered, because I don't have a vet anymore that'll spay and neuter.
What's the cost of spayed neuter pig?
It's
same as a dog?
$250.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's...
With my discount.
So let's say you get five phone calls today, and all the, is that another mud hole over there?
Yes.
Okay. You get 5 calls today, and they're all spayed and neuter. Why else wouldn't you take one? This one's going to eat the back of my leg.
No, she's not going to eat me. She says, pet me. I want your belly.
Pet you.
I want
Pet
a belly
you.
rub.
Pet
Yes.
you.
She's not going to eat the back
I'm only
of your
kidding
leg.
you.
Yes. Yeah.
So, okay, so let's say
It
5 calls.
depends. Well, for the lady in Georgia, it's 580 miles one way. So...
Well, there's not a lot of people that do this.
No, there aren't. And you know, I couldn't afford to absorb the cost of fuel, so she'd have to pay me for fuel. And then we also asked for a $200 donation to take your pig so we can help supply food and stuff. And $200 doesn't last very long.
No, it wouldn't last long at all.
Right. So, come on. Down.
So that's how you would get one then?
It depends. Now, if police call or humane officers call, or if there's a seizure, we do that. But I have to realize what I'm capable of taking care of.
Right.
Because there's a rescue out in Illinois, and he just reached out to me and said, we're financially up here on the animals' feed. And I said, you've got to rule with your head and not your heart. Because if you continue to take in and take in and take it in, you've become the problem that you've been trying to help.
Right.
So, you know, donations, everybody thinks you get state funding. You don't get state funding. You know, we operate on donations, and I do fundraisers a couple times a year.
Are you a 501c3?
Yes.
You know, here we go again, and people know that this is, I always have to take a few minutes out, and I did it the other day when I was doing the Saving Shepherds, and I did it with the Fix and Wagon and stuff like that. You know, I love that people want to give donations, but they're giving it to the wrong places.
They're giving it to the major corporations.
Absolutely, and I try and stop people constantly. We were talking about, let's just pick on the Humane Society. For even Crawford County Humane, not all that money goes right there, and you've got to get the money where it needs to be. And we were talking about the cats. A friend of mine in Pittsburgh gives money to 3 cat foundations, and I said, you have to stop. You have to give it to Fix and Wagon because they're local and the money stays here. Right. And that's what's so important. I just did a program actually. I was in a breast cancer tournament for Barco. And do you know that I think they were going to end up with maybe 30,000, and it was a wonderful situation. And that all goes to Barco, and it stays at Barco.
Nice.
And that's what you want to do. So people that want to do any type of a donation need to do it local. And these potbelly pigs are unbelievable, and it'd be a great place for people to make donations.
And we don't take a pay. We volunteer our time.
Correct.
And we've never taken a pay. In fact, in our bylaws it says everybody will be a volunteer.
Right.
So every penny you give goes to the benefit of the animal.
Do you have volunteers here?
We used to have volunteers here. Now, not so much, but it's okay. That's why I'm down to the pigs that I'm down to, with David not being able to help. It's manageable. So
if somebody wanted to volunteer for you,
sure, they could get a hold of me, because it's going to be time to strip out stalls.
And you could use some help.
Yes. Yes.
So it'd be a good project. You know, since you're a 501c3, it could be a great community project for a kid that wanted to do a community project and something different.
Right. Also high schools.
High school?
We benefit from those. That shed that's up by the front building, it was built by a Eagle Scout. And he's got his name carved in with his date for the Eagle Scout. He built that on his own, yes. And that was a great project for him and for us.
How about 4-H?
4-H could come out. Yeah,
anybody could come
that
out.
Needs, right, because since we are 501, the hours count.
Well, let's say that somebody does something stupid and gets in trouble with our local law enforcement and ends up getting community service.
We used to have
sometimes
the juvenile,
you could do that too.
We used to have them come out. Yes,
they were great.
Yes,
they'd send somebody with them, and boy, my stuff would really get done.
Right.
So, if you're listening to this, and I hope you are, and if you know other people that can help out Hog Heaven, you need to tell them how important it is. Number one, to be aware that they're 501c3. Number two, you need to tell them that they can make donations. If somebody's looking for community service in college or high school or whatever, or 4-H, or any organization, they can call you. We can get you some volunteers to do some work.
Yes.
And it doesn't always have to be, they'll probably say, well, I'm not going to go, and I'm not going to go, I'm not going to pick up poop.
Correct.
Well, there's other things to do.
Yes, there are.
So there's a lot of things that you could use their help.
And I'm going to plug, I'm doing a fundraiser, and I take orders for pierogies. And I go to Pittsburgh from Pierogi Plus, and I get the pierogies. So, and then I go to Kerrtown and unload the trailer. Everybody picks the pierogies up there.
When are you doing that?
I'm going to start advertising next month. I pick it up. I have to call my order in October 7th, and I pick them up, I believe, October 12th. So, and they're made that morning, so you have to pick them up that day, because that way you can take them home and individually freeze them or use them or do whatever. So,
are they good?
Oh, they're delicious.
Are they?
Yes.
Well, you know what? Not only the Doggy Digest, where I do a lot of things on Facebook, I also know someone who has all type of contacts and who helps me quite a bit with the Doggy Digest. We're going to make sure that you send me the information, we get it out to everybody that wants to help you. Because you need to help these local organizations that are working so hard to take care of something. And if you weren't taking care of these crazy potbelly pigs, they wouldn't be here. And what do you do with them when one dies?
We bury them.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We bury them. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that I need to remember? I need to know that we need to tell our public about Hog Heaven.
Do your research before you go out and buy a potbelly pig, please. If you get a potbelly pig, make sure they're spayed and neutered. It makes your life easier, and you're not going to be saying, this pig's vicious, I need to find it a home.
What's as soon as they would spay or neuter a potbelly pig?
The farm pigs, which is a agriculturally accepted practice, they neuter the boys at probably 2 to 3 days old.
What about the girls?
The girls, well, the farm pigs, they are either going to butcher at 6 months or they're being bred. So they're the breeding sow. Of course, they don't spay. They don't spay the girl feeder pigs, but of course they don't want a lot of boars running around because they can be aggressive. So no, she's not eating me.
No, but she's very pretty.
And soft. Feel how soft.
Probably should get an award for this. Oh, shut up and quit talking to me like this. See, I told you she knows I like dogs.
She knows you don't like her.
Well, let's walk back out. Is there anything else beside that?
I don't think so.
We talked about volunteers, the 501c3. We talked about the pierogies. We talked about doing your homework. You know, Regina, you and I are such animal lovers. I wish they would do their homework on anything that they get.
Yes. I wish they would stop breeding everything for 3 years. I really do. Because, and I'm into the rescue world, but I believe in purebred dogs, good breeders. Not puppy mills, not backyard breeders, not my dog's wonderful, so I wanted to have puppies. I'm talking about breeders that put money into them, pay for the x-rays, pay for the DNA testing, pay, and then vaccinate the bitch or the female along the way so that the puppies get that natural immunity.
Right.
And then that's why you don't really vaccinate a puppy until they're 9 or 10 weeks old, because hopefully they've got the immunity from the mother. But if the breeder hasn't put the money into it and vaccinated her along her way, then the puppies don't have that natural immunity. So.
Well, you know, and during COVID, and God forbid we get something like that again, but so many people purchased dogs and cats And
because they were
probably a few
lonely.
pot bellies and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. And then suddenly they went like, oh, now I've got to go back to work. I'm no
Right.
longer working at home.
Right.
Or, oh, I didn't know that I was going to have to do this, or I didn't know that I was going to have to do that, or there was so much care associated with these things, and now they want to get rid of them. What type of overall care is there for a potbelly pig?
Well, if you have them in the house, okay, it's, you know, you feed them once or twice
And the
a
litter
day.
box.
You can do a litter box, or Joe and Floyd were both litter trained when Omni took them.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I don't do litter boxes. She had them taught to go in and out the doggy door in 2 days. So they're
Okay.
extremely, extremely smart. So, and again, you get out of them what you put into them. You can teach them to walk on a harness. You can teach them to spin right or spin left, or sit up or lay down, or so you can do all that with them. So
Why don't you make one a therapy potbelly pig? That'd be a real hit, I would think, at
I'm sure that could.
at the facilities.
Yeah, I'm
If
sure.
somebody walks
I'm
in, I was
sure.
watching my favorite show, The Incredible Dr. Pol, and he had a girl on there that takes the small horses
Mm-hmm.
into the different places. And I know that Megan Schuffstel, who is in charge of, I think it's her last name now is Henry, and she works with the Meadville ambulance. I do believe that she has taken some of her other animals in too, because
She takes Buttons, and she
What's
adopted
Buttons?
Buttons a pony.
okay.
And she adopted a donkey from us from our neglect case that we had. She actually, her name is, what did they name her? Star. And she actually had her front hoof was curled 3 times. It was the worst that we've ever seen. And when she goes to the fair, she has a little board that shows what she looked like before we got her and how we trimmed
Wow.
her feet up, and so she's very happy over there. Yes.
Oh, wow. I know that they do. And I know that she has often done in parades and that. We did a parade one time out at Crawford County Care in Sagertown. And we had the therapy dogs there. And of course, Megan brought her entire menagerie with
Yes,
her.
yes.
So we had them in the parade, which was very, very
Yes.
popular. So does she have, but she doesn't have a potbelly pig.
No, she does not have a potbelly pig. I think Henry would. I think.
You and I need to talk about that. We could have a potbelly pig in a therapy program.
I don't know how they would get around. They don't have rabies. You don't give them a rabies vaccine because
okay.
they have pseudo-rabies. So they get a rabies virus that is specific to pigs. So it's called
Is it contagious to a dog?
No, it's just contagious
Okay.
to other pigs. So I don't know if there's a vaccine for pseudo-rabies. I don't know how that would, because they would have to be vaccinated to be a therapy pig.
We'll have to talk about that sometime. Well,
Yes,
thank
will.
you so much. This has
You're
been an
quite
experience,
welcome.
and you even got me to pet these devils. I told you
Yes.
I wouldn't pet the possum when they had the
Yes,
possum. That was
yes.
too much. But these guys are nice, and I'm so glad I got an opportunity to see you again and to see these potbelly pigs. And their total down here, what, 20?
I have 33.
33.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, well, thanks
At one
very much.
time we had
Oh.
84, so 33 isn't
84
so bad.
potbelly pigs.
Yes.
When I was here, now we just to digress for a minute. When I was here, they were
Arlo
all,
met you in the driveway.
and they were all loose.
Yes, yes.
I got out of the car and I said, "Oh my God!" And they were congregating around me, which I wasn't real fond
Right.
of. But that was a long, long time
Yes,
ago, and
it
I remember
was.
that's when it. Did
Yes.
these guys never? Well, they don't need to look at the room they have.
Right.
They have unbelievable amount of room.
And
You can
once they
always-
learn to be outside pigs, you see their tails are wagging. They're very happy out here grazing on their grass. And yeah.
Wow. Well, going back again, thanks a lot. It was
Sure,
fun. I
you're
enjoyed
welcome.
it.
Yes. And they didn't hurt you.
They didn't. That's the good news. They didn't hurt me, and my boots are still in one part, and I have my boots on, so in case there was muddy down here, and it's not, but at least I avoided the soft landmines.
Yes.
They're at my house too.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Kevin.